For me, one of the greatest examples of what Education for Life was able to do is give me that direct experience. And so it wasn't, here is the intellectual understanding of reason, of why this should be this way, why this works, why this doesn't, but try it yourself, figure it out, and see what happens. I think in a lot of the stories that I've heard Nitai tell and of the different various travel abroad experiences, they are quite dramatic, some of them with things going in many different ways. But the main thing that I really got out of all of that was just this deep faith, as Nitai was talking about, in knowing that the direction is maybe unknown. Where we're trying to go exactly is not quite figured out. But that faith and that devotion will guide us and direct us to wherever we're wanting to go. It's so important in the development of individuals, myself, and younger kids, that you don't know where you're going. You don't know what direction you're trying to go. You don't necessarily even know what career path you want to take. But what you do know, and what I was able to get from this Education for Life system, being the college specifically, is that it doesn't matter necessarily where I want to go or specifically what I want to do. But it was giving me the tools that said, okay, here's how to live. As Nitai mentioned, Yogananda's schools were called How to Live schools, and it's so appropriate. Because what we all need to learn individually isn't necessarily how to be the best accountant or the best mathematician or anything, but how do we live in this world, and how do we approach and deal with the challenges that come up, no matter what avenue we're going through. I think in general society there's a big security in saying, this is who I am and this is where I'm going. I think there's a security in that, but I also think there's a lack of potential in that. I think anytime you say, this is who I am and this is where I'm going, without being open to a million different circumstances that could potentially be greater than what you had in mind, you really limit yourself. It's not the 10 steps, it's the one step that matters right now. There was a study that I recently read about a group of Asian women. That they split the into two groups, about 20 each. And in one group, they were doing math tests. And in one group, they said to the women, they just kind of put it frankly, well, you're women, and women are generally less good at math. And they didn't really support it in any way, but just mentioned it. And then they had those women take tests, math tests. And then with the other group, they said, yes, well, you're Asian women. Asian women are generally really good at math. And they just reinforced that positive affirmation. Maybe it was true to these women specifically, maybe not. But it turned out that those women, with that positive reinforcement, did 50% better than the other women. And they came from the same background, the same everything. And you really recognize the importance of positive reinforcement. I've seen it time and time again in public school systems and even experienced it myself, where students have such potential and they have such an ability to shine, but yet aren't given that positive reinforcement. And really, it's not the teacher's fault, or how can a teacher give 30 different to 40 different kids all personal attention as the college has had, and even just living in community is the environmental factor. The environmental factor being the people and the physical space even. Living in community, you're constantly fed that positive reinforcement by the people that you're living with, working with, and just interacting with on a daily basis. And so I'd like to end with just a quote by Master that he says, the purpose of life is for our education and entertainment, but how few are either educated or entertained. And I think the emphasis isn't necessarily or learn new things. And so really, stepping into community after having gone to the college, I really appreciate the fact that in this community we're always pushed to grow more and do new things and constantly discover who we are without defining ourselves or needing to know exactly the direction we're going.